Welcome. I would like to welcome you to another episode of the Unpopular Podcast. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Jalen Hunter. And if you would do me a favor, please subscribe me on the YouTube channel. Any subscription will help, man. I appreciate it. But here's where we'll start. So there's not really much to talk about when we talk about the Thursday night football game between the Rams and the Seahawks. The better team won. The Rams are better in almost every aspect outside of probably quarterback, but Matthew Stafford played incredible. He threw for 365 yards, one touchdown, one bad interception, but, it didn't really cost them. And everything that we knew about the Rams and the Seahawks is exactly what happened. What are the Rams this year? The Rams last year, let's say this. The Rams last year was the number one defense in the league. Yes, their offense with Jared Goff wasn't the best, but they had the number one defense. This year, their defense is struggling. I don't know if it's because of the new personnel or the personnel that I think 3 players from last year are not here this year. I don't know what it is, but their defense is not good. Now, Jalen Ramsey has been good. Aaron Donald has been good, but the defense as a whole has not been good, which is why you see the inconsistency that you're seeing from the Rams this early in the season. Now, I know it's hard to say like inconsistency. They're 4-1. I get that. But you can't tell me that the same Rams. All right, so you get 2 glimpses, kind of like the Saints. You know how the Saints looked week 1 against the Patriots, how they beat them like 38-3, and then how they looked just completely putrid the next year or the next week. You're kind of getting that with the Saints. I mean, why do I keep saying you're kind of getting that with the Rams? Now, it's not really costing them games, but you remember how the Rams looked against the Bucks. They look like world beaters. They look like they're ready to play. They look like the best team in the league. They look like they couldn't be stopped. Then the next week, they laid an egg. And then don't get me started about how they looked against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I do admit, yes, Arizona Cardinals is a great team. But the Rams should not look as that inept against the Arizona Cardinals, especially when they're 4-1. They were undefeated at the time. But everything that we know from the Rams, everything that we know from the Seahawks, that's exactly what we are. Who are the Seahawks? The Seahawks is a Russell Wilson-laden team. It's pretty much Russell Wilson or bust. Yes, they have some good receivers in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Chris Carson is a good running back, even though he is hurt yet again with a neck injury. I do hope speedy recovery, but Chris Carson is starting to become one of those injury-prone players. I'll just have to admit it. And the defense, man, the offensive line isn't that good. The defense has some good players, but as a whole, it's not good. It's kind of like the Rams. In fact, both of these teams are kind of mirroring each other. The only difference is, of course, the record. The Rams is a really good offense. The Seahawks have a really good offense. Even though the Rams do have a better offensive line than the Seahawks, both these teams are kind of mirroring each other. Both defenses are struggling, even though don't get it confused. Yes, there is like a big name or two on the Seahawks defense, but that's nothing compared to Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. But this is what I took away from the game. Again, it's not much to talk. It wasn't that much to talk about as far as a game perspective. The things that we've seen from the Rams is exactly what we got from the Rams. The things that we've seen from the Seahawks is exactly what we got from the Seahawks. But here's the biggest takeaway from this game. So Russell Wilson went out with a dislocated finger. They're saying it's a sprain, but we saw it on TV. It was dislocated. He went for a pass and his finger hit Aaron Donald's hand after getting through the line again and dislocated his finger. Now, it goes back to, I say this time and time again. I kind of put Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, I kind of put them in a basketball category. And what do I mean by that? A basketball team, Now, I'm not saying he's LeBron James, but let's look at the Lakers, right? Or let's look at Cleveland and LeBron James tenured. Even though they had Kyrie, even though they had Kevin Love, that team was built solely around LeBron James. And if LeBron James was out of there, they just didn't look good. Hell, you can even kind of say that with, the Lakers before this year. They were built solely around LeBron. So if LeBron's not there, they looked horrible. Why am I talking about that with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks? Russell Wilson could not finish the game because of the dislocated finger. And Geno Smith had to come in. Now, Geno Smith did look good. He did throw a touchdown to DK Metcalf. But did you see how fast? I understand he's not a rookie or anything, but did you see how fast the Rams defense picked up, exactly what Geno Smith is, exactly what he was going to do? To the point where, now I understand that you could have called a pass interference. It was a slip, and it is what it is. But Tyler Lockett fell, I guess, and Geno Smith threw a bad, game-ending interception pretty much. I'm saying all this to say the Seahawks cannot afford. The Seahawks is probably one of those teams, one of the few teams that are so dependent on. This is a quarterback league. We know this. The NFL is a quarterback league. You're only as good as your quarterback. As far as, the quarterback's going to take you as far as you go, But there are some teams that can kind of fare okay with a backup quarterback. For instance, the Tennessee Titans. Yes, you have Ryan Tannehill, and don't get me wrong, he's okay. But you know that you have Derrick Henry, the workhorse. Sam Darnold and the Panthers. Sam Darnold is really good, but you have Christian McCaffrey when healthy. You have DJ Moore. You have Robbie Anderson. You have some really good pieces. And we'll talk about the Panthers in a second or a little bit later. The Ravens, yes, is built around Lamar. And of course, and I'm not saying that none of these teams they're not going to be as good if they don't have their starting quarterbacks, of course. But they can, the Ravens is a run-heavy offense. And that's why their backup pretty much looks like a mirror image of Lamar Jackson. Of course, he's just not that good. I mean, not as good as Lamar. I'm saying all that to say this. This Seattle Seahawks team is in trouble they're in trouble if Russell Wilson cannot play. If this finger injury lingers on, they're in trouble because this team is not built to withstand having a backup quarterback. Geno Smith can play his heart out. We've seen the best of Geno Smith, and the best of Geno Smith is not ahead of him. Now, again, you can say that about a lot of teams, but Russell Wilson, this team is so dependent on Russell Wilson. Look at outside of Russell Wilson, what is yes, they have a good receiving core. They have DK Metcalf, they have Tyler Lockett, but you need a good quarterback to get him the ball. Case in point, look at the New York Giants receiving core. They have Kenny Golladay. They have Sterling Shepard. They have Darius Slayton. When healthy, they have Ingram at the tight end. They have one of the best receiving cores in the league. Not the best, but one of the best in the league. But why are they not really considered a top wide receiver core? Because of who's throwing them the ball. You can put the Giants receiving core up against a lot of people. It's not saying that they win, but you can put them up against the Cowboys receiving core. You can put them up against the totality of the Kansas City Chiefs receiving core. You can put them up against the totality of the the Bucks receiving core. Not saying that they're better, but they can stack up. However, when you look at the person throwing them the ball, you got to kind of. Daniel Jones is not Tom Brady. Daniel Jones is not Dak Prescott. Daniel Jones is not Patrick Mahomes. Now, I understand those are big names, but Daniel Jones he struggles with interception problem. He has an interception problem. I'm saying all that to say this, man. The Seahawks are not in a good position if Russell Wilson not only can't play, but if he can play, but he's limited with his finger, because they do not have another core that can pick up the pace for him. That's the thing that the Bucks are so loaded. So let me say. Let me go back. Let me go to a different team. Hell, even a lower tier team like the Bengals. The Bengals, even though Joe Burrow is a big part of them, they have Joe Mixon that can kind of pick up the slack. And with the recurring neck injury from Chris, the recurring neck injury that Chris Carson has, they do not have another dependable unit because their defense is not dependable. And yes, I understand you have Jamal Adams, but Jamal Adams he's a blitzing linebacker safety that is horrible in coverage. Like, he's horrible in coverage. You can turn on the tape. He is a hard hitter. He make a big play or two, but in coverage, he is horrible. Bobby Wagner he's still really good, but he's not the Bobby Wagner from the Legion of Boom, which is so many years ago. You have to hope. This team has to hope that Russell Wilson can't, his finger will not, his dislocated finger will not pose that much of a problem, because if it does, this team is dead in the water. And I know it's just a dislocated finger, Jay. I get that. But it's from a quarterback. Now, there have been some quarterbacks that have played with dislocated fingers, and he could definitely play with a dislocated finger. But it was clearly bad enough that he couldn't finish the game on Thursday. So, it's just, this, and that's what makes the Rams different than the Seahawks, is that Henderson has been playing well, even though I think he got hurt. I know Sonny Michel has been playing good. If Matthew Stafford does not play well, there's another unit that can pick him up, even with their defense struggling. You still have big names, like I said, like Aaron Donald, like Jalen Ramsey. Both are probably the best players at their position. Definitely Aaron Donald is the best player at his position. Jalen Ramsey is probably the best corner in the league. So two players at their best at that position. So they have another unit, if Matthew Stafford does not play well, to pick them up. The Seahawks do not. If Russell Wilson is not playing at an ungodly level, then the Seahawks is a very mortal team. So let's move on to a story that I kind of touched on for a second, but I thought when I touched on it before, I thought that we had the whole picture, and we didn't. And let me talk about the Urban Meyer situation for a second. So, of course, we know he was caught on camera after a game. Let me say this. He was caught at a bar on camera. I guess there was a young lady dancing on him. There was drinks around dancing on him. It looked like he was doing something with his hands. I don't know. It wasn't his wife. He was caught on tape. Bada bing, bada boom. You know the rest. Oh no, he then goes. He apologizes to the media in a weirdest apology I've ever seen in my life. Like, he was scared to even look at the media. But here, that's pretty much where when I covered this the first time, or when I talked about it the first time, that's pretty much where I ended. I pretty much said, hey, he made a mistake. He just has to own up to it, talk to his team, keep moving. That's pretty much what, your focus. The focus should not be on this. The focus should be on winning, especially with a young franchise, especially, not young franchise, young, team. a team that's not really that good, young quarterback. You shouldn't focus on this. You apologize, talk to the team, keep it moving. That is where I ended that story. But that was not the end, and that was not the whole story. What I didn't really understand until reports started coming out left and right is there have been we see on film and we see week after week that the Jaguars are not a good team. Yes, Trevor Lawrence is cool, but they're not a good team. They don't really have a good unit, period. They don't have a good offensive line. DJ Chalk is out for the season with an injury. They don't really have a good wide receiver core. They don't have a good defense at all. Urban Myers is a new coach. They don't really have a good team. And the last thing that you want to do is be a new coach, because of course we know about the status that Urban Myers holds in college. You know, we know about Florida, we know about Ohio State, but that doesn't really carry over to the NFL. And I'm saying all this to say there have been reports that his message is not getting through with the team. In fact, there are reports coming out saying the team is not only they're not listening to him, they don't like his leadership. He's not a good leader to them. Again, it's different when you are recruiting a 5-star athlete or you're recruiting a 4-star athlete. You're recruiting college kids. It's different than when you're talking to grown men that make more than you. You have to come at them a different way. That's why a lot of college coaches, now some do, don't get me wrong, some do, but that's why a lot of college coaches don't really make it in the league. Lou Holtz tried it, didn't work. And Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach ever, Nick Saban did not work in the NFL. And it's not, again, it's early. I mean, it's early, but it's not looking like it's working for Urban Myers, and that wasn't the whole story. Then the video happened. No, first, they lost. They lost, and the first time I've ever heard this, and you know it's not just me, because every single time I've heard the story, every single time I've heard another media pundit, every time I've heard another former player, former scout, former coach talk about this, they say the same thing. This has never happened in X amount of years that they've been in the league or covering the league. After the game, the team went on one flight and went home. You know, it was a away game. They went back to Jacksonville. Urban Meyer did not. Never have I ever heard a team getting on a team plane after a game and not the coach. And again, it's not just me. Again, I know I've never been in the league, but it's not just me. Every single person that talks about this story says, I've never heard of that. And then after that, that's when you see the video. And it is a damning video, I'll say that. And then, instead of addressing his team, which I think anybody should do, especially if you're the head coach, he cancels practice, trying to avoid talking to the team, trying to avoid talking to the media. And I guess because, it's pretty much spreading like wildfire, he acquiesces and talks to the media. And he doesn't even talk to the team as a whole. I think he talks to the individual units. And he talks to the team units like the linebacker core, the wide receiver core. He talks to them individually. The conversation coming out of this is, should Urban Myers get fired? Now, Urban Myers has already come out and said he's not resigning. The owner of the team said, which was the weirdest thing I've ever heard. The owner of the team said, Urban Myers he disappointed us and he needs to earn my respect and the team's respect again. The owner of the team says the coach that you are employing needs to earn your respect again. Like I said, the conversation around all this is, should Urban Myers get fired? Now, I say this a lot. I'm not one to call for somebody's job. We just got out of the pandemic, or we're pretty much still in the pandemic, so jobs are at a scarce at this point. And I'm not one to call for somebody's job. Like, I want someone to have the utmost opportunity to succeed at whatever they do. Not saying that keep giving them chance after chance after chance after chance. If they don't take it upon themselves to try to grow, I'm saying I want them to have the best opportunity to win in life. But when we talk about coaches, right? Two things that can't happen. Two things when you're a head coach of a football team, whether that's college, whether that's NFL. Two things cannot happen. One, you cannot lose the locker room. You cannot lose the locker room, because once you lose the locker room, you're not getting it back. That is anyone knows that. And that's just not football. That's any sport. If you lose the locker room, you're not getting it back. Two, you cannot be a distraction. That's what we talk about a lot with backup quarterbacks. Hell, that's probably one of the biggest reasons why Cam Newton is not in the league right now. Because more than likely he would be a backup to somebody right now, because it's we're in the middle of the season. You don't want to, he's the type of person we have to build the offense around him. So that's not going to happen in week 4 of the NFL. So more than likely, whatever team that he goes to, he'll be a backup until further notice, or he'll just be a backup. And people know that Cam Newton will be bigger than the team. Like, Cam Newton is too big and too, I guess, what did he say? His aura is too big to be a backup quarterback right now, or to be a backup to Mac Jones, and pretty much to be a backup. And the two things that I said you can't do is exactly what Urban Myers has done. And it's not just multiple people have saying that he's lost or losing the locker room, because people don't respect him, especially after you send the team home and you don't get on the team jet. First time anyone's ever heard that. And two, you don't even address the team about something like this. And it's not just that. They haven't been winning. Now, again, you can understand that the team's not that good, but they haven't been winning, and reports are he hasn't really been addressing the team well after these wins or about these wins, and he hasn't really made any coaching changes after these losses. It's again, man, you can't stress this enough. College is not the NFL. And I'm not just saying that with talent level. Not every team in the league in the NFL is better than Alabama, better than the best college team. Every team is better than the best. Every team in the NFL, hell, whether it's the Jaguars, whether it's the Houston Texans, whether it's any team, is better than the best college team. Which means you're not getting pancakes anymore. Like, you're not getting cupcake teams. You're not playing Fresno States. You're not playing San Diego States. You're not playing Oklahoma States. Every team has the best players because they're in the NFL. So a lot of that, it's easy to get to recruit the best. Urban Meyer is a great recruiter. Or at least he was back in his day, back in when he was coaching college. But that don't fly in the NFL. There's too much money being passed around, too much talent on a team. So you got to come correct, or you will get your head blown in. As far as, I don't mean that as like murder or anything. I mean like you'll lose. I want to clear that up. You'll lose in a game. And quiet as it's kept, a lot of people don't really want to. There's always Urban Myers again is his record, his college record it speaks for itself. Almost everywhere he's gone in college, he's been successful. That's his record speaks for itself. But there is something to be said about everywhere he's gone. There has been a story. Everywhere he's gone, there's been something. Florida, Aaron Hernandez. Now, I'm not saying that Urban Myers, of course, was complicit in that, but there has always been a story with his players. Florida, Ohio State, Ezekiel Elliott, a lot of players, the whole rape thing, not Ezekiel Elliott, but the whole rape thing at Ohio State. And how there's always something with Urban Myers. And at some point, again, at some point you have to look at the common denominator and in all these situations. There's one common denominator in all of the situations that everywhere that Urban Meyer goes, there's always a story off the field. Insert the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this time the story is Urban Myers. I don't know what's going to happen. As we sit here today, Urban Meyer is the coach. And I don't know if they're going to fire him or not. But I do know that your record is your record. And Urban Meyer has a spectacular college record. I also understand that he has a horrible NFL record. And he has a very sketchy off the field record. And for people to saying, well, you can't blame Urban Meyer for what happened, at Florida or what happened at Ohio State. These are players. They're going to make their decisions. Yeah, true. But why is it that you never hear anything come out of Alabama? Why is it that you never hear anything, in Nick Saban? Why is it that you never hear anything come out of Penn State under Franklin? Why is it that we never hear anything come from Notre Dame? Why is it that we never hear anything come from organizations with great coaches? We never hear anything come out of that. Yet and still, every single place Urban Myers goes, there's a story. Again, man, the two things that you cannot do, as a head coach in the NFL: lose the locker room and be a distraction bigger than the team. And that is crazy that he as Urban Myers right now is a bigger distraction than the Jacksonville Jaguars as a team as a whole, with a horrible team and a number one overall player, number one overall quarterback. And the biggest story coming out of Jacksonville is Urban Myers off the field issues and his personality not fitting with the team, or his coaching style not fitting with the team. The two things you can't do in the league is exactly what he's doing right now. So, does he get fired? I don't know. I know if I owned a team, I don't know. I just know what we've been presented. So, let me move on. Another story that happened, which was it was weird to me, was Stephon Gilmore in the Patriots. So Stephon Gilmore has been on the PUP, players unable to perform list the entire year. But there has been rumblings pretty much for the past 2 years that Stephon Gilmore may be out of New England. And I don't remember, I think it was Thursday, a report came out saying that he was being released. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that was a shocker because he is, a multiple-time Pro Bowler. He's a Defensive Player of the Year or a former Defensive Player of the Year. And you're just going to release him? Whoa. Now, I will say this. It was a shock, but I don't think it was that big of a shock to the world because the Patriots have this. They do this all the time. Whether they get off a player years before they have to, or they lose a player and then that player just turns out great. Like they did this to Van Noy, they did this to Chug, they did this to so many. One of the McCourties who came back, they do this all the time. So while it was like, damn, you letting go of Stephon Gilmore, he's former Defensive Player of the Year, it wasn't that shocking. What the shockingness came probably, again, this was, the report said, Patriots set to release Stephon Gilmore. Probably 30 minutes later, I see Panthers trade 6th-round pick for Stephon Gilmore. I'm like, wait, what? I thought it was supposed to be, what? I thought they said he released him. And then what made it even more weird is, I guess his agent or somebody that was in contact with Gilmore's agent was pretty much saying that he's on his way to Green Bay. Now we know the injury situation and the injury problems that Green Bay has dealt with on the defensive side of the ball. So we're like, well, okay, well, he's Gilmore in Green Bay. That's great. For him to then turn around and go to the Panthers or get traded to the Panthers. This is why this story is weird to me. It's not weird, but this is why this story is, that's weird. It's crazy to me. Apparently what happened, or what it looks like that happened, they haven't confirmed or denied, but what apparently had happened is they released, or they made a statement saying they were set to release. They did this for teams to call them and say, hey, before what can we do? What can we do? And then they made the trade to the Panthers. Here's the thing that I don't like about this story. It doesn't seem like Stephon Gilmore. Now, I understand he's from Carolina, like his hometown is Carolina. But it doesn't seem like he even knew he was going, because, again, whoever was in contact with his agent, who pretty much is really sourced or whatever, was saying that he and his agent were pretty much confirming that they're trying to go to, or he will be going to Green Bay just to turn around and go to the Panthers. If he was traded without knowing, I understand this is a league, both NFL, NBA, whatever league, where you can get traded in a heartbeat. We all know this, but don't play with my name like that. And what I mean by that is don't just dangle me out there for teams to be like, hey, I'm about to release him. What do you want to do? And then tell me that I'm going to be released. So then I have to set my mind. Okay, so, that means there's a sea full of people or a sea full of teams that can pick me up. This to then go behind my back and trade me to a team. Now, reports are coming out saying that he was asking for like $15 million a year. Now, that's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. Especially for a corner that's injured right now, that's a lot of money. But put the injury aside, for a corner that is a multiple-time Pro Bowler, that is a former Defensive Player of the Year, that when healthy is still one of the best cornerbacks in the league, that's not that much. I mean, that's a lot of money, but he warrants it. The only problem is, one, is the Patriots, and we know how frugal the Patriots can be with good players, i.e., look at their greatest quarterback ever on a different team because they weren't trying to pay him. Or they kept trying to do pay cuts for with their greatest player ever. So again, all the reports haven't come out. Stephon Gilmore hasn't said anything. The Patriots hadn't said anything, but it did seem like Stephon Gilmore felt, and his representative or his agent or whatever felt that they were getting released, meaning they were trying to go to Green Bay. So for them to then 30 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever later say, hey, we trade him to the Panthers, that's crazy to me. But what does this mean for Stephon Gilmore and the Panthers? Well, the Panthers already have a very good defense. Their defense is pretty much underrated. And I mean underrated because when we talk about the best defense in the league, not a lot of teams say the Panthers. Not a lot of people say the Panthers. Now, the Panthers do not have the best defense in the league, but their defense is great. They're one of the best. I think they are the best run defense. They're a great defense. The only problem is, they're dealing with some injuries in the back end. J.C. Horn was their top draft pick. He's hurt. You bring in Stephon Gilmore, that changes a lot of things. Stephon Gilmore is so good that he can turn an average defense into a really good defense. He can turn a really good defense into a great defense. He can turn a bad defense into an average defense. Just him alone. That's how good he is. Now, he is on the PUP list, and I think that the reports are saying that he will be available in week 7. So you pretty much trade a 6th round pick that may matriculate into nothing, and you get a former defensive player of the year and one of the best. And a lot of people argue when healthy is the best cornerback in the league. Again, I don't know if Stephon Gilmore wanted to go. I know that's his hometown, but that's where he's at right now. And the Panthers got his steal. And for the New England Patriots, man, they've made a lot of questionable decisions over the years. You're telling me the thing that I don't understand. Now, again, I could be wrong. I don't know, but you're telling me that a player with the stature that Stephon Gilmore has, you're telling me that the best thing that you could have done was get a 6th round pick, especially when you see how much Jamal Adams was worth, or how much. I now understand it's a different position, but how much Tyrann Mathieu was worth. And a lot of people would say that Stephon Gilmore, when healthy, is better than those players. So you see how much that they get, and a 6th round pick? I don't know. But good for Stephon Gilmore. Hopefully, if he wants to go to Panthers, good for the Panthers. I hope nothing but the best for him. Another surprising release was Jalen Smith from the Cowboys. Now, when we talk about surprising, okay, so Jalen Smith has a really good. Jalen Smith coming out of Notre Dame, he came with a gruesome injury, and it didn't even look like he was finna walk again. Like, that's how bad that injury looked. So from the fact that you go from that, definitely had nerve damage, to now being in the NFL is a testament of its own. He won. He won. And Jalen Smith, especially coming into once he started, playing and stuff, he was great. He was one of the fastest linebackers that we had in the league. He was good. Now, he wasn't phenomenal, but he was good. And but kind of like Jamal Adams, you can be really. Now, I'm not saying he's on the same level as Jamal Adams. Don't get me wrong, but Jalen Smith had issues. And when I say issues, as far as he was horrible in open field tackling, like horrible. And I don't know what it is. Like he was. I don't know if he couldn't read coverage, or his ability to read coverage was decreasing, but there was a lot of times he was out of position. Him and Michael Parsons. Now, you can understand Michael Parsons because he's a rookie, but him and Michael Parsons were out of position a lot of times. Now, he still is very fast, and you can saw his role was possibly changing with the emergence of Micah Parsons, but the Cowboys just released him. I mean, and I was like, oh shoot, okay. Now he's still at his best, still a serviceable player, still really good, still a hard hitter, still one of the fastest linebackers that we have in the league, and he got picked up by Green Bay, signed a 1-year deal. I think that'll be good for Green Bay, especially with Za'Darius Smith out. It's just you can't depend on Jalen Smith to be like your best player, because I don't think, or to be, you can't expect him to be what he was a couple years ago, because he just isn't anymore, and you can't expect him to be your best player. The good thing is with the Green Bay Packers, he's not. You have Zaire Alexander. Of course, we need to see what happens when Za'Darius Smith comes back. And you saw Preston Smith. So he's just going to be one of the, he was a, you did have Dexter Lawrence, you did have Michael Parsons, you did have Vander Esch, but Jalen Smith played a big part in that defense. He's going to play a part, but he's not going to play a huge part in the Green Bay defense. And I think that's where he'll thrive the most. But there have been, last week, man, it was a string of crazy cuts and crazy situations. So shouts out to Jalen Smith, shouts out to Stephon Gilmore, and definitely see where it goes from there. So, but we're here at week 5. We're here at week 5, and I'm going to predict the games. I do this, prediction on Saturdays and breakdowns on Wednesdays. That's what we do. So predicting the games. Again, we already had Thursday night football. The Rams won 26-17, or beat the Seahawks 26-17. So where do I see this playing out? You have the Jets and the Falcons in London. First and foremost, I feel bad for London. I think the stat came out is, I think we've never sent them 2 winning teams. Like, I think maybe once or twice. Like, I don't think we've ever done that. And I don't know if that's because the good teams just decline. I don't know. But I feel bad for London, man. Like, they keep getting the crap teams, man. But at 9:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, the Jets play the Falcons. To me, it's the quarterback game. Who's better between Zach Wilson and Matt Ryan? And I'll go with Matt Ryan at this time. I also think that, Kyle Pitts should play a big role, seeing as though Calvin really is not traveling with the team right now, or for this game and not playing. So I think that, Mike Davis and Kyle Pitts are going to have big game, or should have big games. So I'm going to take the Falcons with that. Lions and Vikings. The Lions are 0-4, and while they have played hard, we're really starting to see the Vikings are having a tough time finishing games. Now the Vikings are having a tough time finishing games, but not as bad as the Lions, man. The Lions had an opportunity to beat not only the Ravens but the Green Bay Packers, and they just let it slip through their hands. Well, the Green Bay Packers, they just laid an egg the second half. But the Lions are having a tough time finishing games. So I'm going to go with the Vikings. Saints in Washington, to me, this is a toss-up game, man. The Saints aren't playing that well. Washington's defense still ain't playing that well, but the offense, Tyler Heineke looks really good. Terry McLaurin looks good. Antonio Gibson, I think he's playing through a torn ligament in his shin. So we'll see how that goes. J.D. McKissick's cool. Logan Thomas is out, so that's big. Bostic's out for the season. That's huge. But we don't know what we get from the Saints. We don't know, but I'm going to go with Washington. I'm going to go with Washington because I just think that I think that, again, and it kind of goes back to what I said again. It was the Dolphins and somebody. You have to right the ship sometime. And I think that Washington's defense has to right the ship in one of these games. And I think this could be the perfect game to do it. So they're at home after a 2-game stint. Washington, I just think that this could be the game where Washington's defense gets together, especially even though you did lose Bostic for the season, which is a big loss. You still have really good pieces on the defensive end or defensive side of the ball. So I have Washington with that one. Patriots and Texans. I got the Patriots just because their defense and their running game. Now that's the Texans, while they are both 1-3, and the Texans did just lose 40-0 against the Bills. The Texans are a lot better than I thought they would be, but the Patriots to me are just a better team, and I don't think Mac Jones is going to throw for 350 yards or 400 yards, but I think he's going to do just enough that doesn't lose them the game. So I have the Patriots winning that game. Dolphins and Bucks. I got the Bucks. Best team, well, on paper roster, the best team in the league. Even though their corner, they're dropping like flies on the defensive side of the ball, man. And it's bad. And no offense to Richard Sherman, but it's bad where you sign Richard Sherman, you sign him on a Wednesday and he starts on a Sunday, like. It's they're dropping like flies in the back end of that defense. But I think that the Dolphins, Tua's not playing, so I think the Dolphins, and even if Tua was playing, I don't have the Dolphins winning this game, so I have the Bucks. Packers at Bengals. I think this is going to be a really good game. Joe Burrow against Aaron Rodgers. I just think that Aaron Rodgers. I know Aaron Rodgers is better than Joe Burrow, and I think that the Green Bay defense is better than. The Bengals' offensive line is still bad. We talk about this time and time again, and I think that the Green Bay Packers are gonna. They're kind of on a roll right now. So I have Green Bay. Broncos and Steelers. I have the Steelers. I think Teddy Bridgewater not playing, or I don't think he will play due to concussion. He might, who knows? But I don't know. Like the Broncos, that loss against the Ravens last week, definitely kind of put into perspective who the Broncos kind of are. Now, it's still Big Ben, man. Big Ben is still holding back Big Ben and the offensive line is still holding back the Steelers' chances of winning. But I don't know. I need to see the Broncos get back on the right track, and I don't know if going against this defense, because the Ravens defense suffocated the Broncos last week, and the Steelers, in my opinion, have a better defense than the Ravens. So I got the Steelers winning this one. Panthers and Eagles. I got the Panthers. The Panthers fought valiantly to the end against the Cowboys, and the Eagles are not the Cowboys. And I think that they want to get back on the right track after losing their first game of the season. So I have the Panthers beating the Eagles. Tennessee Titans against the Jaguars. You lose to the Jets. So I can't really put anything above the Tennessee Titans game. But I do think that, especially out of Jacksonville right now, there's a lot of distractions and a lot of talk that it has nothing to do with football. And even though the Tennessee Titans defense has been horrible this year, like god awful, I think that they're going to have to right the ship. That you can't lose to the Jets one week and then turn around and lose to the Jaguars the next. That's just, I can't see that, especially with Derrick Henry now. Julio Jones probably is not playing, but AJ Brown should be playing. I got the Tennessee Titans winning. Browns and Chargers. I think this is a bigger game than a lot of people expect, just because of the talk that's going around. Baker Mayfield and some of his inaccuracies this year. Even though they are 3-1, he has kind of been kind of errant with some of his passes. And the Chargers are rolling, especially after beating the Raiders. I got the Chargers. I think I think it comes down to who outperforms who, as far as what does Baker Mayfield do against the Chargers defense compared to what Justin Herbert does to the Browns defense. The Browns probably have a better defense, but I think Justin Herbert is playing better than the Browns defense. So I got the Chargers winning that. Especially the Chargers are kind of on a roll right now after being the Raiders. So I have the Browns at Raiders. I got the Raiders in this one. Justin Fields will be starting moving forward. That's what Matt Nagy said. But the Raiders, even though they did lose, I think that they're still a good team. I don't, I did see bad Derek Carr on Monday Night Football. I believe it was. It was bad. Like Derek Carr looked like he was seeing ghosts. It didn't look good. However, I don't know if that's going to be a recurring thing or is that just a one game thing. I need to see that. So I'm gonna take the Raiders. Cardinals and 49ers. The Cardinals are on a roll. Right now, Cardinals are playing like the best team in the league. And until I see them lose, I'm not going to pick against them. So I have the Cardinals beating the 49ers, especially Trey Lance is starting this week because Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt. I don't know if he's ready to start, even though he did look good when he had to play with Jimmy G going out. But I'm not betting against the Cardinals until I see them lose. So I have the Cardinals winning that. Cowboys and Giants. Pretty much, with the NFC East rivalry and everything, people are making this a huge game. I think the Giants are about to get destroyed. Like, the Cowboys are just on a roll, man. The Cowboys are playing great football, both ends of the floor. Both sides of the ball, whether it's defense and offense. Like, they're playing really good team football. So I just I don't trust Daniel Jones. I do not trust Daniel Jones. So I have the Cowboys winning that. To me, the biggest game of the season right now. No, not even right now. The biggest game of the season, in my opinion, and the game that's going to tell us a lot is the Bills against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, put the records aside. Kansas City Chiefs is 2-2. The Bills are 3-1. This is the team that the Bills have had a tough time. Actually, this is the team that the Bills have not been able to conquer. It's kind of like Lamar Jackson going against the Chiefs. A lot of people think that the Bills have been arguably, neck and neck with the Cardinals as playing the best football this year. But the one thing that people keep saying is, what about the Chiefs? What about the Chiefs? The Bills have been great against everyone outside the Bills. Outside the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Bills are on a roll right now. Winners of 3 straight. What happened? I want to see what they look like, especially at Arrowhead. I want to see what they look like against the Kansas City Chiefs, especially a Kansas City Chiefs team that they can beat. The Kansas City Chiefs defense is not good. They're kind of, even though they did just have a 5 touchdown game, they're kind of just not in sync right now. So this is the perfect time to catch them. So I want to see just how they look. And if they can't beat them now, I don't know when they'll be able to beat them because this is the perfect time. So, but I'm gonna go with the Bills. I'm gonna go with the upset. I'm gonna go with the Bills. They're rolling right now. They're winning 3 straight and they're destroying people. And the Chiefs just aren't right now. Their defense is not playing well. They have a young new offensive line and they're trying to get the hang of everything. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes, but I have the Bills. I think the Bills. This is the time. And it's at Arrowhead. This is the time. I have the Bills winning this one on Sunday Night Football. And Monday Night Football, I'm actually going to be at this game. Ravens against the Colts. I have the Ravens. The Colts haven't really shown me that they can beat like a really good team. And the Ravens, time and time again, have showed me that they can. So, and the Colts, at least this year, haven't been a good team. I don't really trust Carson Wentz. I just don't at all. So I have the Ravens winning this game. So those are my picks. Those are my predictions. Let me know how you feel about it. Let me know what you think before the game or for games tomorrow, and we'll talk about it. So let's go over to basketball a little bit. I've been doing my divisional breakdowns. We already did the Central Division. We did the Southeast Division last episode. In this episode, we're going to tackle the best division in the Eastern Conference, which is the Atlantic Division. The Atlantic Division has the Philadelphia 76ers, the Brooklyn Nets, the New York Knicks, the Boston Celtics, and the Toronto Raptors. Let's talk about and the thing about this conference is every single team has a story. And now, of course, you can say that, but every single team has a headlining story. Let's start with the Knicks. Probably the third, fourth most famous team in the league. Even though they haven't really done much in a while, but they're it's the Knicks. They play at the Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. Everybody wants to show out in Madison Square Garden. And the Knicks were exciting last year. I mean, you had most improved player in Julius Randle. Derrick Rose looked really good. Nerlens Noel finally looked good. R.J. Barrett looked really good. They had a good team. Reggie Bullock was good. But they made it to the playoffs and lost in a gentleman's sweep to the Atlanta Hawks. And the problem with this team is they didn't really do much at all. They just re-signed all their players. And talking about, we're going to run it back. Run what back? You just lost in the first round to a young team, Atlanta Hawks team. I didn't understand that. But to me, this team is the bottom of this division. You can kind of go back and forth between them and Toronto Raptors, but we'll talk about the Raptors in a second. I just don't. I see them being good. I see them being exciting in the regular season. But the things that plague them in the regular season is the things that you can look over in the regular season with the Knicks is their poor shooting. They're poor. They're not really that good defensively. They were winning games because they were exciting. They had Julius Randle. He was playing out of his mind. And they were so dependent on him that when you go to the playoffs and the same problems that you have in the regular season, you have in the playoffs, and Julius Randle's not playing good. They were too reliant on Derrick Rose. Now, I love Derrick Rose. Everyone that's a basketball fan loves Derrick Rose. You love the Derrick Rose story. We love Derrick Rose. But at this point of his career, after what he's went through in his career, he's not good enough to be the number one guy, especially in a playoff series. And he was pretty much, in fact, he was the Knicks' best player in the entire playoffs. Now, I understand, like I said, it was one round, but he was the Knicks' best player in that series. And when you have a most improved player in Julius Randle, when you have some of the young talent like R.J. Barrett, who had a good season last year, Derrick Rose cannot be your best player. And I'm saying all that to say about last year is they talking about running it back. They didn't really do much. They didn't really do many moves this offseason. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, the Knicks will probably be exciting, and I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take that take back as far as I don't think they're. I think Toronto's probably not or worse than them. So I'm gonna take that back. But I just don't think that. I just don't think the Knicks could make the playoffs, or they could make the play-in. I just don't see them. I don't see a guy that can go put the ball on the ground and get a point like Julius Randle. We know he's going left. I just don't see it. I mean, I really don't. They have some exciting pieces. Don't get me wrong. They have some exciting pieces, but they don't have any game changers, especially in a division that has nothing but talent. So I don't know, man. I don't. Again, the Knicks they'll be good in the regular season, or they'll be okay in the regular season. They'll be fun to watch because it's the Knicks. I just don't know where they go. I just don't know where they go. So, that's the Knicks. And Toronto is kind of like the New Orleans Saints, man. They have a new regime. This is the first time since I can remember that they either don't have DeMar DeRozan or Kyle Lowry. DeMar DeRozan, he's been gone for a few years now, but Kyle Lowry left to go to the Miami Heat. So now it's the Fred VanVleet team, Scotty Barnes, who is a rookie, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby. I think this team will be good defensively. Scotty Barnes is a great defender. Pascal has the body type and the frame to be a good defender. OG Anunoby is a really good defender. It's just, I don't know if this team is good enough and has the pieces to score. Your best players is Pascal Siakam, or your best scorers, let's say, is Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. Now, Pascal quietly had a decent year last year, but not enough to be a number one option. Like, not decent enough to be a number one option, which they asked him to be, and he has to be. So I think Toronto is going to struggle. I really do. They are really well coached, so that's going to get them some wins, but I don't see Toronto being good really this year, especially after losing pretty much a staple in their organization, which is Kyle Lowry. So, but I'm not gonna say that it came at as a blindside. Like, Kyle Lowry has been on the trade block for a minute now, and I think I was more surprised the fact that it actually happened, because I don't know how many times you heard, is Kyle Lowry coming back? Is Kyle Lowry coming back? You remember in the last season, the trade deadline, after the game, before the trade deadline, he's piecing everybody up like this is his last game, because he even thought he was gone. So, but it finally happened, and now Toronto's in a new tenure, and we'll see how it goes. Boston had a lot of, their head coach is now there, and Brad Stevens now, he's their GM. Danny Ainge is gone. To me, this is Jason Tatum's team. You give up, or you let Kemba Walker walk. Kemba Walker walk. This is Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's team. Marcus Smart's there. The only problem that I see with this team is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum don't nearly play as good a defense as they should, and it kind of seems like they're not as effective together than they should be. As far as, it's not like it seems like, and I talked about this before, like when the season ended last year, it kind of feels like they're playing. It's like, all right, I think they both have a mindset, this is my team. And I don't think you can have that, even though everyone that watches basketball knows that this is Jason Tatum's team. I don't think that, it doesn't really seem like Jaylen, and don't get me wrong, Jaylen Brown is he's a good player. Do not get it confused. But it just feels like he plays like it's his team. And that's not the case, man. And I think that they really need to get it together. They have Dennis Schroeder. Shouts out to that man. Dennis Schroeder. They have Al Horford, Jabari Parker, Theo Pinson. Oh, Theo Pinson on this team? I know that. Enes Kanter, Grant Williams. They have some pieces. Peyton Pritchard, who's pretty much a Peyton Pritchard's pretty much a summer league Hall of Famer. But I think that, of course, you're only going to go as far as Jason Tatum takes him. And I think Jason Tatum is probably like the fifth best player in this division, which isn't fourth the best player in this division. So I'm that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. So and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just think you're going to go as far as Jason Tatum takes you. But you also got to, the team has to buy that this is Jason Tatum's team and build around it. And I do want to see what happens, seeing as though, you have a new coach and a new GM, and see how that goes. So that's the Celtics. Philadelphia 76ers, man. The biggest story around this team was, of course, Ben Simmons. I think a report came out the other day saying that the Portland Trailblazers rejected a trade or an offer that the Sixers sent them. It was like 3 first-rounders and 3 pick swaps for Ben Simmons. They trying to get off Ben. Well, let me say this. I think that this team is clearly not, or definitely not as good with Ben Simmons not on the floor. Especially they built this team around Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and the fact that Ben Simmons will not be there definitely hinders this team's ability to win. I mean, you have Joel Embiid. I think he finished third in MVP voting last year, so you're gonna win games. You have Tobias Harris, who's really good in the regular season, pretty much. You have Danny Green. You have really good pieces. It's just this team is the cloud around this team is where's Ben Simmons gonna go? And once you lose maybe 2 or 3 games, and the chatter's gonna get louder, and teams are gonna start doubling and maybe even tripling teaming Joel Embiid, because your best shooters is Seth Curry, who's a great shooter, don't get me wrong, Danny Green, but neither one of them are really putting the ball on the ground, creating their shot. They don't really have a point guard that can really orchestrate the offense, and that's what Ben Simmons did pretty well, even though he couldn't score. So I think that I think the question with the 76ers is, the question that I've heard a lot is, did the process fail? Of course, we know the process, getting Ben Simmons, getting Joel Embiid. The process wasn't just getting those players. The process was, tanking for a while to compile a team full of really good players, lottery picks, and then ultimately, rising up to the top and getting a championship, or at least being in contention to win a championship. And I think it failed. It failed because you got the talent. You had Ben Simmons. You have Ben Simmons. You have Joel Embiid, and you are nowhere closer to a championship now than you were with. Now let me say this: the team is better now, clearly better than it was, with Sam Hinkie and all the tanking and stuff. But it didn't. You didn't get you didn't get a championship, and the problem with that is, with this whole Ben Simmons news, they're further away from the championship now than they've been in a while. So with that, I do think it failed. It's unfortunate, but it did fail. Because the goal was not just to compile a whole bunch of good players from losing. It is to win a championship, and they're now further away today than they were a year ago or 2 years ago, and that is, it sucks. But hey, that's the 76ers. Then we get to Brooklyn, and I don't need to talk about Kevin Durant. I don't need to talk about James Harden. I don't need to talk about Steve Nash as a coach. I don't need to talk about them losing them losing DeAndre Jordan. I don't need to talk about them getting Cam Thomas, who looks like right now the steal of the draft. All this team's the success of this team is banking on one person and one person alone, and that is Kyrie Irving. Now, am I saying that this is Kyrie Irving's team? No, this is Kevin Durant's team. Am I saying that Kyrie Irving is the best player? No, Kevin Durant's the best player. James Harden's the second best player. Then it's Kyrie. So why am I saying that the success of this team is banking on Kyrie Irving? Because we know what we're going to get out of Kevin Durant. Again, when healthy, Kevin Durant. Hell, the GMs just voted. I think Kevin Durant, they voted him like the best player in the league. We know what Kevin Durant is. We know, when healthy, who James Harden is. One of the most prolific scorers the league has ever seen. So I say that the success for the Brooklyn Nets is pretty much banking on Kyrie, because Kyrie, now, I'm not here, again, I've said this time and time again, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do when it comes to this vaccine. I'm not, it's your body. You do what you do what makes you happy. You do what makes you feel safe. If you want to take the vaccine, take it. If you don't want to take it, hey, that's on you. Do your thing. I'm vaccinated. My family's vaccinated. Cool. And I'm not here judging anyone that doesn't want to get vaccinated, or I may have personal feelings about getting vaccinated compared to not getting vaccinated, but I'm not here, I'm not looking at somebody differently that doesn't want to get vaccinated compared to someone that does. But with that being said, there's mandates out now. There are cities, there are states that are forcing people, are putting mandates out that you have to get the vaccine, and Brooklyn is one of them. New York was one of the hardest hit places, obviously, but one of the hardest hit places with COVID, and because of that, and now that we have a vaccine, they're pretty much, if you are a Brooklyn worker, or essential worker, which they're considering basketball players essential workers, you have to get mandated, or you have to get vaccinated, or you can't play. Meaning, Kyrie Irving right now is not eligible to play in any home games. And the thing about it, because you were like, all right, people that's saying, all right, there's only 41 games. You good. Just play on the road. No. Because there are also road teams like San Francisco. There are also road teams that also have this mandate, meaning he won't be able to play in San Francisco. He won't be able to play in Brooklyn. And what happens when you get to the playoffs? In a series. What happens if a series goes to Game 7 in Brooklyn? He can't play. Hell, he can only play, say Brooklyn has home court advantage. He can only play in what? 3 games if it goes to 7 games? Meaning, bro, you see what the Lakers are doing. There's teams that are retooling. The Lakers, Milwaukee Bucks that just won a championship. Golden State's getting healthy. We see what the Miami Heat are doing now. The Phoenix Suns, the Clippers, man. I just think, man, this season for the Brooklyn Nets is banking on if Kyrie gets the vaccine or not. Because we know what you're going to get from KD. You know what you're going to get from James Harden. And they're good. They're good enough to get you to the championship with those two alone. No. They're good enough to get you at least to the second round with those two alone. Not saying that they're, but when you're playing, say they have to play Milwaukee Bucks, a better team without Kyrie Irving. We saw what happened in the this year. Say they have to play the Miami Heat in the second round, a complete team. And you don't have Kyrie Irving in half the games. And don't get me started with what the Lakers are about to... Bro, you have LeBron, AD, Russell Westbrook, Melo. Dwight Howard's back. Rajon Rondo's back. DeAndre Jordan's there. THT, the last thing you want to do is be in an NBA Finals game. Say they make it to the finals and Kyrie Irving can't play in home games. So this season, the success, I'll say this, the success that the Brooklyn Nets have this season is solely based on what happens with Kyrie Irving in this vaccine. Now, you saw that Andrew Wiggins got it because he was set to lose like $15 million. Now, I understand with endorsements and everything and how much money he's made in his career, $15 million ain't nothing. Now, I know it's crazy to say this, but $15 million ain't nothing to Kyrie. But this is your best. Hell, the Brooklyn Nets lost a championship last year due to the health of Kyrie Irving and the health of James Harden. And, all we've been hearing is, when we're fully healthy, scary hours. That's all we've been hearing all offseason from James Harden and the team. And now you may not have, in fact, you probably won't have your full team, at least if Kyrie Irving doesn't get the vaccine, you will not have your full team half the games. So he's pretty much a part-time player. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, but that's definitely a story that's going to linger throughout the year if Kyrie Irving stands pat and does not get the vaccine. Again, I'm not here saying, you have to get the vaccine, you don't have to get the vaccine. I'm here saying do what's best for you. But I also know that if this is starting to affect like your work, your livelihood, I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Let's move forward. Shouts out to Candace Parker and the Chicago Sky for making it to the WNBA Finals. I was wrong. I had Connecticut making it. I mean, they were the number 1 overall seed. You had Jonquel Jones, you had DeWanna Bonner, you had Alja Thomas. Alisa Thomas. I apologize. I thought they were going to win, or at least make it to the finals, and they did not. Shouts out. I definitely underestimated how good Dana Evans was playing, how good Candace Parker was playing, how good Vandersloot was playing, how good Cooper was playing. They did really good, and as we speak right now, because I'm doing this before the game, before game 5. The Vegas Aces and the Phoenix Mercury are set to play tonight, actually, in Game 5. You know, winner take all, pretty much. Now, what's her name again? I apologize, yo. Why is her name escaping me? Oh man. Hold on, guys. I'm looking up this player's name. I forgot her. Her name is escaping me. Oh man, her name is escaping me. She just tore her ACL, unfortunately. Damn, she went to UConn. Why is this name? I apologize, y'all, but why is her name escaping me? Lord Jesus, I'm looking at. Hold on, guys. Her name is escaping me right now, but when I see it, Kia Nurse. I kept saying Kelsey Paul. Kia Nurse, unfortunately, damn, that's crazy. Kia Nurse, unfortunately, tore ACL, and I think that's a big loss for Phoenix. So we'll definitely see how that is, and I think that even if they do beat the Aces, that loss is going to be felt against the Sky in the playoff. I mean, in the championship. I wish nothing but a speedy recovery for Kia Nurse. But I mean, it's it's unfortunate for her, and I don't wish that upon anybody, especially torn ACL. That can affect. I mean, some people don't come back from that. Now, I hope she does, and I'm sure that she does. She's a great player. She's been great for a while. So I hope nothing but the best. But we'll see how it goes. But shouts out to the Chicago Sky for making it, and shouts out for all the team, both the Aces and Phoenix, because like I said, we're recording this before the game. So, however, whatever happens, whoever makes it, we'll talk about, of course. First game of the WNBA Finals is on Sunday at like 3:00 on ABC. So I'm excited, and we'll see how it goes. And yeah, let's move over to baseball a little bit. At some point, for the longest, the saying for baseball is money can buy you championships. When you look at a lot of, especially in the past, the teams that had the biggest, salary cap or salaries and the teams with the networks usually won the championship, or usually had something to say, or at least made it to the championship. The Yankees have been. This is all right. So the Yankees lost in the wild card to the Boston Red Sox. Garrett Cole just completely collapsed. They lost. And this is yet another disappointing end to the Yankee season. Not every team's going to win. We know this. I'm not saying it's disappointing because, there's only one World Series champion. There's only 2 teams that make it to the World Series, and there's multiple teams in the league. So, of course, you have a very slim shot to making it. But when you put as much money into the players that the Yankees put into their players, as much money they have into Giancarlo Stanton, as much money, and Giancarlo Stanton had a great ending to the year. Aaron Judge had a really good ending to the year. But when you put that much money into them two, and Garrett Cole coming from Houston, and just for them to flame out, or just for Garrett Cole to flame out in the in the playoffs or the wild card, you're starting to see that money. I mean, the Dodgers. The Dodgers did win, but you're starting to see that. I don't know what it is. I mean, there's always something you put. Maybe the Yankees are putting their money into the wrong positions. I don't know, because their bullpen usually is bad. Their pitching maybe not be bad, even though they thought Garrett Cole and a lot of people thought Garrett Cole was supposed to be the remedy to that. It's just yet another disappointing end to the Yankees, and I think we have to start. Hold up. We have to start looking at the Yankees in the right perspective. And, the Yankees, we know about their we know about their history. We know about, how good they've been. We know it, okay? We know it. However, they haven't won. How many? They have 19 World Series. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me get this together. The Yankees have, is it 19? 19. 19 World Series. Yeah. Is it 19? 19? I'm going to go with 19. 19 World Series. And, but they haven't been to the World Series since 2009. Or they haven't won a World Series since 2009. For people that's losing track of time, it is 2021. I think we have to start looking at the Yankees kind of like how I think people are starting to look at the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics have not won a championship. Yes, they have a prestigious background in a championship-laden history, but they haven't won since, 2008? And this is just yet another disappointing season, or a disappointing ending, and honestly, a disappointing season altogether for the Yankees. I mean, their highlight was the Field of Dreams games, which was a really good game, but then they lost that game. So there's that, man. And lastly, before we go, so the big fight this weekend is Wilder against Fury. The third fight. I think it ended in a draw, the first one. Tyson Fury won the second one. There was a lot of controversy, or a lot of people saying controversial things coming out of the second one. I just think that, Tyson Fury won. And Tyson Fury is a better boxer, or at least he's been a better boxer as far as like all around better boxer than Deontay Wilder. It's just Deontay Wilder he has that punching power, and he does not hold back. So who do I think is going to win this fight? The thing that you can't play box. You can't play fight. You can't play, MMA. And you have to be focused. Like, focus, or another person is going to rip your head off. And I think Deontay Wilder is going to win this fight because of a couple things. One, Tyson Fury didn't even want to fight this guy. I think, the rules in boxing is if they petition for it, you have to grant them a third fight. If if it's like tied or something, or if you haven't won two or something like that, you have to grant them the third fight. Tyson Fury didn't want to fight this fight. He wanted to fight Anthony Joshua, who just lost like 2 or 3 weeks ago. He wanted to fight him. Tyson Fury I believe he had COVID twice. And because of that, he wasn't able to train like he usually does. Now, because of that, he gained 20. He's 20 pounds heavier. Now his camp is saying, he's 20 pounds heavier so he can take the blows. No, bro, you're 20 pounds heavier because you had COVID twice and you couldn't train like you wanted to train. And Deontay Wilder, he has a new trainer, and they're saying that they retooled everything. And I haven't really heard a lot of talking out of Deontay Wilder's camp, but I've heard a lot of talking and a lot of distracting talk from Tyson Fury over talking about the Paul brothers and this, that, and the third. Man, I just think that Deontay Wilder's been more focused this fight, and I think it's going to be a really good fight, a lot better than last one. I think it's going to be good, and I think Deontay Fury is going to, or Deontay Wilder, I apologize, is going to win this fight. So I think he's going to win it. And there you have it. That has been today's episode of the Unpopular Podcast. I appreciate you guys. If you want an Unpopular Podcast shirt, hoodie, sweater, long sleeve, joggers, the link is in the description below. It's about to start getting cold, so get your hoodies, get your sweaters. I have multiple different designs, multiple different colors. Get yours today. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so anything will help. Again, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And until next time, much love.